I'm Brooklyn. As I sit here in my cozy new living room, looking at my kids laughing and playing around the Christmas tree, I can't help but reflect on the journey that brought us here. It all started on that fateful Christmas, a time when I finally found the courage to stand up for myself and my family. The family group chat lit up like a bonfire, filled with panicked messages. My mom, sobbing over the phone, had just told me that all the Christmas deliveries to my brother's house were cancelled. Everything's gone, Brooklyn. The food, the presents. Why would you? She wailed. I answered with a calm that surprised even me. Small enough now. It was a moment of pure catharsis, but it also brought back a flood of memories. I remembered the day my mom had called me on the speakerphone while I was in the carpool lane, holding grocery bags on my lap. We're keeping it small this year. No room for extras, she'd said, stirring something in the background. I'd nodded like she could see me and replied, of course. Totally understand. But inside, I was seething. That night, I'd tried to make the best of it for my kids. We'd baked cookies, wrapped presents with dollar store paper, and hung stockings on the radiator. I'd told them that Santa always finds us, even in our shabby apartment. They'd believed me, and for a moment, I almost did too. But then, on Christmas morning, my phone lit up with photos from my brother's wife, Lily. She'd posted them with fake casual captions like "so blessed" and "just family this year." But the background told a different story. The house was full of people, the dining room overflowing. There were neighbors, her college roommate, her dog groomer, and even the UPS guy. My kids, in their holiday pajamas, had waited by the door, checking the empty hallway. Maybe Santa forgot our floor, my daughter, Mia, had whispered. That was the moment I snapped. I opened my laptop, typed in a few addresses, and clicked cancel on every single delivery headed to that house. The gourmet cake, the imported wine, the monogrammed gifts, all gone. The silence after I hung up with my mom was deafening. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like the outsider. I felt like the detonator. The group chat was filled with confusion and anger. My mom asked if I knew anything about it, and I simply typed, "I'm just an extra, remember?" That afternoon, I turned my attention to my kids. We built a pillow fort while a storm raged outside. The freezing wind and lack of sunlight couldn't dampen the warmth inside our home. I cooked what I had and watched them unwrap the little gifts I'd saved all year to afford. They didn't notice the absence of the grand Christmas they'd seen in the photos, they noticed the effort. But later that night, after they fell asleep, I cracked. I stood by the window, phone in hand, reading through old messages. My mom had always made excuses, saying things like "you know how tight it is this year," while posting pictures of fancy dinners and matching pajamas with my brother and Lily. The truth was, I'd always been the one they called on for help. I was the babysitter, the emergency fund, the one who took my grandma to her appointments. The next day, my brother, Ethan, called. "Was it you?" he asked. I didn't deny it. He went quiet and then said, "Mom's in bed. She's been crying all day." I looked at the stack of unpaid bills on my counter, the cracked heater, and the worn sneakers by the door, and replied, "She can cry once. We cry all year." 3 days later, a letter arrived. It was from my mom, her handwriting still perfect, as if good penmanship could erase years of imbalance. "Brooklyn, Christmas was never meant to be like this. You could have come. We just thought space was best." I scoffed at the word space. They'd only created distance when I needed closeness and offered closeness when I created distance. I tucked the letter into the drawer with the other half-hearted attempts at communication. That week, the family group chat went dead. Then, Lily broke the silence with a reel. Her kitchen was dim, and her laugh was fake. The caption read, "When Christmas gets sabotaged by petty people." It had 20 likes, half from extended family and one from my mom. I watched it twice and then decided to make a video of my own. There was no voice, just visuals of Mia unwrapping a hand-sewn doll, my son, Leo, lighting a cinnamon candle with pride, and us in blankets sipping cocoa, framed by yellow Christmas lights from the dollar bin. The caption was, "When love doesn't need luxury, just honesty." To my surprise, the video went viral. Press outlets were asking to feature my story of quiet resilience. They called me the realist of the holidays. My mom didn't comment, but my aunt Rose did. "They've always underestimated you." Not anymore. It was the first time someone in my bloodline had my back publicly. New Year's Eve came, and as usual, I expected the pity invite around 9 p.m. But this year, there was nothing. Just silence. I put the kids to bed early and sat on the fire escape with a blanket and a mug of wine, watching distant fireworks. Then, my phone buzzed. It was a DM from my cousin, Harper, in Oregon. We hadn't spoken in 2 years. "Hey. Just saw your video. I didn't know they treated you like that. You always made holidays feel magical when we were little. If you ever want to start over, come here. We got room for all 3 of you." That message was a lifeline I didn't know I needed. I decided to make a plan. I went through old photos of staged family dinners and gift exchanges where I'd given carefully chosen presents and received socks in return. I packed 3 small boxes, not out of anger, but out of peace. I was done trying to be what they refused to see. 2 days later, I handed my landlord the notice. 3 days later, we were gone. I didn't tell anyone, not my brother, not my mom, not even Aunt Rose. This was a new beginning. On the 20th day, I got a voicemail from my mom. Her voice was brittle. "I heard you're moving. That's ridiculous. This is your home, Brooklyn. You can't just erase us over one holiday." I didn't call back. I stood there, holding the lease for our new apartment 2 states away. It had 3 bedrooms, clean walls, and a balcony that faced the mountains. I signed it. The family didn't realize I was serious until the group chat lit up with the question, "Does anyone know why Brooklyn's number says out of service?" By then, we were already in our new town, in a new school district. The silence here was different, warm and peaceful. Harper welcomed us with open arms and stocked groceries. She didn't ask what happened, she just handed me a spare key and said, "You get to breathe here." For the first time in years, I exhaled fully. One afternoon, I got an email from my mom. It was long and full of excuses, but she never said, "I'm sorry" or "we were wrong." I left it unread. That weekend, I posted a photo of me and the kids under a string of backyard lights, with mugs in hand and a blanket around our shoulders. The caption was, "Turns out peace fits better than permission." The likes and comments rolled in, and then I got a message from Lily. "You really left us, huh?" I replied, "I didn't leave. I just stopped chasing people who only see me when they're hungry." It took them 2 months to realize I was really gone, not just physically but emotionally and spiritually. I wasn't coming back to the role they'd assigned me. Then, one afternoon, a package arrived. It was from my mom. Inside was an old photo album with a picture of me as a toddler beside a Christmas tree, half smiling with an uneven ponytail and one sock missing. A note fell out. "You always made holidays special, even when we didn't. I see that now." I didn't cry because I'd already mourned the part of her that should have seen me before the world did. My kids were busy drawing pictures for our neighbors, and our house was messy but happy. That night, I wrote a letter to my mom. "Dear Mom, I forgive you, but I don't belong to your orbit anymore. You chose a small circle. I built a universe. I burned it in the fireplace." Spring arrived, and tulips bloomed along the sidewalk. My kids ran home with skinned knees and full hearts. One Sunday afternoon, my phone buzzed. It was my brother. "I know things got messy, but Mom's birthday is next week. She wants to see you. The kids, too." I asked, "Did she ask for me?" Or is she hoping for an audience? He hesitated. That's not fair. But it was. I'd played that game before. No, thank you. I won't come, I said. But you can tell her this. I hope she has a peaceful birthday. I genuinely do. But peace isn't something I owe her anymore. He said I'd changed, and I replied, no, I just stopped being who you preferred me to be. That night, Harper sent me a picture of our nameplates side by side on the community advisory board. She added, from silence to seated, and now leading. I printed it and hung it above the coat rack, next to the words my daughter had painted, small doesn't mean invisible. They'd tried to shrink me, but all they'd done was clear the space I needed to grow. This Christmas, there were no invites, no gifts rerouted, and no tears. Just music in our kitchen, paper lanterns, a dinner full of belly laughs and burnt pie crust, and a final toast from Mia. To Mom, she said, who doesn't need Santa because she brings the magic. I raised my glass, not in spite, but in honor of every room I'd been excluded from that taught me how to build my own.